Hello, and welcome to the Midnight Deep. I'm your host, Wade Hadley, and tonight we're embarking on a journey into one of the ocean's most talked about mysteries. The Bermuda Triangle has captured imaginations for decades, inspiring countless tales of vanishing ships and aircraft. But what really happens in these waters? Tonight, we'll explore both the legends that made this region infamous and the scientific explanations that bring clarity to the unknown. We'll trace the boundaries of this mysterious zone, examine the most compelling disappearances, and discover what oceanographers and meteorologists have learned about the forces at work beneath these waves. From magnetic anomalies to rogue waves, from methane eruptions to simple human error, we'll separate fact from fiction in the calm, methodical way that science demands. If you enjoy these types of videos, I'd love it if you'd give this one a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the Midnight Deep. And I'm curious, where are you watching from tonight? Drop a comment and let me know. Let's dive in. The Bermuda Triangle, sometimes called the Devil's Triangle, refers to a loosely defined area in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean. Picture a triangle drawn on a map connecting 3 points: Miami, Florida, the island of Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. This creates a region spanning roughly 500,000 square miles of open ocean. That's an area larger than the combined size of Texas and Louisiana, a vast expanse where the deep blue waters of the Atlantic stretch endlessly toward the horizon. The name itself didn't emerge until 1964, when author Vincent Gaddis coined the term in a magazine article. Before that, mariners and pilots simply knew these waters as part of their regular routes. The region has been traveled for centuries, first by Spanish galleons carrying gold and silver from the New World, then by merchant vessels, and eventually by modern shipping lanes and flight paths. Thousands of ships and aircraft pass through this area every single year without incident. The boundaries themselves remain somewhat fluid depending on who's telling the story. Some accounts expand the triangle further north, while others shrink it down. This lack of consistent definition actually matters quite a bit when we start looking at statistics. If you can arbitrarily change the size of your study area, you can make the data say almost anything you want. It's like trying to count how many accidents happen in your neighborhood, but constantly changing what counts as your neighborhood. The ocean floor beneath the Bermuda Triangle is as varied as any landscape on Earth. The Puerto Rico Trench, located near the southern point of the triangle, plunges to depths exceeding 27,000 feet. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Imagine the entire mountain inverted and submerged, with water filling every inch above it. At these depths, the pressure is crushing, the darkness absolute, and the terrain rugged with underwater mountains, valleys, and plains. The Gulf Stream flows through the western edge of the triangle, a powerful current that moves like a river through the ocean. This current can reach speeds of 5.5 miles per hour near the surface, fast enough to significantly alter a vessel's course if navigators don't account for it properly. Early sailors noticed this phenomenon centuries ago, watching as their ships drifted off course despite their best efforts to maintain heading. The climate in this region is subtropical to tropical, meaning warm temperatures year-round and conditions ripe for storm formation. The area sits directly in the path of hurricanes that form off the coast of Africa and sweep westward across the Atlantic. During hurricane season, which runs from June through November, these storms can intensify rapidly over the warm waters, creating extremely dangerous conditions for anyone caught unprepared. The mythology surrounding the Bermuda Triangle didn't spring up overnight. It developed gradually through decades of reporting, speculation, and the very human tendency to find patterns in randomness. Understanding how this legend grew helps us appreciate why so many people believe something unusual is happening in these waters, even when evidence suggests otherwise. The story gained real traction in December 1945 with the disappearance of Flight 19, a training mission consisting of 5 Navy torpedo bombers. These aircraft, piloted by students and led by an instructor, departed from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on what should have been a routine navigation exercise. The plan was simple: fly east, practice bombing runs, then return to base. Instead, radio transmissions revealed growing confusion about their location, followed by silence. The flight instructor, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported that both his compasses had malfunctioned. Without reliable instruments and in deteriorating weather, the squadron apparently became disoriented over the ocean. Search and rescue efforts began immediately, involving hundreds of aircraft and ships scouring thousands of square miles. One of the search planes, a Martin Mariner flying boat with 13 crew members aboard, also vanished. No trace of any aircraft was ever found. This incident might have faded into history as a tragic training accident, but it became foundational to the Bermuda Triangle legend. Writers began collecting other disappearances in the region, creating lists that seemed to prove something sinister was at work. Ships that vanished in storms were included. Aircraft that disappeared were added. Soon, a pattern appeared to emerge, at least on paper. In 1950, a reporter named Edward Van Winkle Jones wrote an Associated Press story about what he called unusual disappearances in the region. The article mentioned the loss of ships and planes, suggesting the area might be particularly dangerous. This was followed by other articles and books, each adding layers to the mystery. Authors like Frank Edwards and Vincent Gaddis wrote about the region with increasingly dramatic flair, emphasizing the mysterious aspects while downplaying mundane explanations. The legend reached its peak with Charles Berlitz's 1974 book, simply titled The Bermuda Triangle. This bestseller brought the mystery into millions of homes, presenting case after case of disappearances and offering explanations ranging from magnetic anomalies to alien abduction. Berlitz's work was compelling and frightening, painting a picture of an area where the normal rules of nature seemed suspended. The book sold millions of copies and cemented the triangle's place in popular culture. However, researchers who investigated Berlitz's claims found significant problems with his methodology. Larry Kusch, a reference librarian and pilot, conducted exhaustive research into the cases Berlitz cited. His 1975 book, The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved, revealed that many incidents occurred outside the triangle's boundaries, some during severe weather that Berlitz failed to mention, and several cases involved vessels that were later found or whose disappearances were easily explained. Kusch discovered that some incidents Berlitz described never actually happened at all. Ships that supposedly vanished without trace were later found to have sunk in storms, with survivors rescued and the causes well documented. Aircraft that mysteriously disappeared had actually crashed in known locations or vanished during weather conditions that would challenge any pilot. The pattern began to look less like a genuine mystery and more like a collection of normal maritime and aviation accidents. The human brain is exceptionally good at finding patterns, even where none exist. This tendency, called apophenia, helped our ancestors survive by allowing them to spot predators in the brush or recognize when fruit was ripe. But it also makes us see meaning in coincidence. When several ships sink in the same general area over many years, we notice the similarity more than we notice the thousands of safe voyages through the same waters. Looking closely at specific cases helps illuminate both why the legend persists and what probably happened. Each disappearance has unique circumstances, but common threads emerge when we examine them with scientific rigor rather than sensationalism. The USS Cyclops vanished in March 1918, becoming one of the largest losses of life in U.S. Navy history not directly caused by combat. This massive collier, a ship designed to transport coal, carried 306 people and 11,000 tons of manganese ore. The vessel departed from Barbados bound for Baltimore but never arrived. No distress signal was received, no wreckage was found, and no survivors were recovered. The Cyclops' disappearance occurred during World War I when German submarines prowled the Atlantic. However, post-war examination of German naval documents revealed no U-boat attack on the vessel. The ship had structural problems, with cracks noted in earlier inspections. It was also overloaded, carrying more cargo than recommended. Naval investigators concluded the ship probably experienced structural failure in heavy seas, breaking apart and sinking so rapidly that no distress call could be sent. The depth of the water where it likely went down, several miles deep, meant wreckage would be nearly impossible to locate. The disappearance of the DC-3 aircraft NC-16002 in December 1948 offers another instructive case. This commercial flight, operated by Airborne Transport, carried 32 people from San Juan, Puerto Rico, toward Miami. The pilot radioed that he was 50 miles south of Miami and preparing to land. Then, silence. No emergency transmission, no indication of trouble, just an abrupt end to communication. Investigations revealed that the aircraft captain had failed to follow proper procedures. He didn't file a flight plan or request weather information before departure. The plane took off overweight and flew into deteriorating weather conditions. The battery on the emergency radio beacon was dead. These factors, combined with the possibility of spatial disorientation and bad weather or mechanical failure, provide a far more plausible explanation than mysterious forces. The aircraft likely crashed into the ocean, and without modern location devices, finding wreckage in the vast Atlantic proved impossible. The Star Tiger and Star Ariel were sister aircraft, both Tudor Mark IV passenger planes that disappeared in 1948 and 1949 respectively. Star Tiger vanished while flying from the Azores to Bermuda. Star Ariel disappeared on a flight from Bermuda to Jamaica. Both aircraft sent routine radio messages, then ceased communication without any distress signals. The Tudor Mark IV was a relatively new design with known issues. The aircraft had poor heating systems, unreliable fuel gauges, and compasses prone to malfunction. Investigators examining the Star Tiger disappearance noted that the plane was likely running low on fuel and flying in icing conditions. Without accurate fuel readings and potentially battling headwinds stronger than calculated, the aircraft could have run out of fuel over the ocean and ditched, sinking quickly in the cold Atlantic waters. The Star Ariel's disappearance occurred in clearer weather but with similar aircraft flying similar routes. The lack of any wreckage or oil slicks suggested the plane went down far from where it was expected to be, possibly due to navigation errors. The Tudor Mark IV was withdrawn from passenger service shortly after these incidents due to safety concerns, but by then the disappearances had already fed the Bermuda Triangle narrative. The cargo ship SS Marine Sulphur Queen departed Beaumont, Texas, in February 1963, bound for Norfolk, Virginia, carrying molten sulfur heated to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. The vessel, a converted World War II tanker, vanished somewhere off the coast of Florida. Coast Guard searches found debris and life jackets, but no survivors among the 39 crew members. Investigations revealed the ship was in poor condition. Inspectors had noted serious structural problems, including cracks in the hull and corroded pipes. The extreme heat required to keep sulfur molten placed tremendous stress on aging metal. Former crew members reported that the ship wasn't fit to carry molten sulfur. The Coast Guard concluded the vessel likely suffered catastrophic structural failure, breaking apart and sinking rapidly. The molten sulfur would have poured into the sea, potentially causing explosions as it hit the cold water, explaining the lack of survivors. These cases share common elements that have nothing to do with mysterious forces. Poor weather, mechanical failures, structural problems, human error, and the simple fact that the ocean is vast and unforgiving. When a plane or ship goes down far from land, especially before modern emergency beacons and satellite tracking, finding any trace becomes extraordinarily difficult. As technology improved and scientific understanding deepened, researchers began identifying natural phenomena in the Bermuda Triangle region that could explain disappearances without invoking the supernatural. These explanations don't diminish the tragedy of lost vessels and crew, but they do restore a sense of order to what seemed chaotic. Rogue waves represent one of the most dangerous natural phenomena in any ocean. For centuries, sailors told stories of waves that appeared without warning, towering walls of water that rose from relatively calm seas. Scientists largely dismissed these accounts as exaggeration until satellite measurements in the 1990s confirmed that rogue waves do indeed occur and can reach heights exceeding 100 feet. Think of the ocean's surface like a crowded dance floor where people are moving in different directions at different speeds. Usually, everyone bumps along without major incident. But occasionally, the timing aligns perfectly and multiple people collide in the same spot at the same instant, creating a pileup far bigger than any individual movement would suggest. Rogue waves form similarly when multiple wave patterns intersect at just the right angle and timing, their energies combining to create a single massive wave. The Gulf Stream flowing through the Bermuda Triangle can contribute to rogue wave formation. This current moves against prevailing winds during storms, creating conditions where waves can build and merge. A ship encountering a rogue wave faces a wall of water that can overturn even large vessels or break them apart with tremendous force. These waves appear suddenly, giving crews no time to react, and they occur in the open ocean where no witnesses survive to report what happened. Methane hydrate deposits exist on the ocean floor throughout the world's oceans, including beneath the Bermuda Triangle. These are essentially frozen pockets of methane gas trapped in ice crystals under the immense pressure and cold of the deep ocean. Under certain conditions, these deposits can become unstable and release massive quantities of gas that bubble rapidly to the surface. When methane gas erupts from the ocean floor, it creates areas of water with dramatically reduced density. A ship floating in normal seawater displaces water equal to its weight, but if that water suddenly contains huge amounts of gas, it becomes less dense, like trying to float in carbonated soda instead of regular water. The vessel can lose buoyancy in seconds and plunge beneath the surface before the crew realizes what's happening. The gas then disperses into the atmosphere, leaving no trace. Laboratory testing has confirmed this phenomenon can sink model ships. Australian researchers built scaled models and introduced bubbles from below, demonstrating that sufficient gas concentration causes rapid sinking without any opportunity for distress calls or launching lifeboats. While large-scale methane eruptions are relatively rare, geological surveys have identified areas within the Bermuda Triangle where such releases could occur. Compass variations represent another documented phenomenon in this region. The Earth's magnetic field isn't uniform, and there are areas where compasses point away from true north with significant deviation. For decades, the Bermuda Triangle was one of few places on Earth where magnetic north and true north aligned perfectly, meaning compasses pointed to both simultaneously. This actually simplified navigation rather than complicating it, but as the magnetic field shifts over time, this alignment changed. More relevant to navigation problems are magnetic anomalies caused by geological features on the ocean floor. Large iron deposits or unusual rock formations can create local magnetic disturbances that affect compass readings. A navigator relying on a compass that's being influenced by underwater magnetic sources might plot a course that gradually takes the vessel far off its intended route, leading to confusion and potentially running out of fuel while searching for landmarks. Microbursts and waterspouts occur frequently in the tropical and subtropical climate of the Bermuda Triangle. Microbursts are intense downdrafts from thunderstorms that can exceed 100 miles per hour in a concentrated area. Aircraft encountering a microburst during takeoff or landing can be forced into the ground or water despite the pilot's best efforts. Over the open ocean, these events leave no witnesses and no wreckage trail to follow. Waterspouts are essentially tornadoes over water, and the Bermuda Triangle region experiences them regularly. While most are relatively weak, some achieve significant strength and can pose serious threats to aircraft flying at low altitude or ships on the surface. The warm waters and frequent thunderstorms create ideal conditions for waterspout formation, particularly during summer months. Beyond natural phenomena, human error and simple statistics play enormous roles in understanding Bermuda Triangle incidents. When we examine the numbers honestly, a very different picture emerges from the one painted by sensationalist accounts. The United States Coast Guard, which responds to maritime emergencies in this region, has stated repeatedly that they do not recognize the Bermuda Triangle as a particularly dangerous area. Their statistics show that the number of incidents in this region is proportional to the amount of traffic passing through. More ships and aircraft mean more opportunities for accidents, but the rate of incidents per voyage is no higher than anywhere else in the ocean. Insurance companies, whose business depends on accurately assessing risk, charge standard rates for vessels transiting the Bermuda Triangle. If this area were genuinely more dangerous, insurance premiums would reflect that risk. The fact that they don't suggests industry experts who analyze accident data professionally see nothing unusual about these waters. Navigation errors account for many disappearances that seem mysterious at first glance. Before GPS satellites, navigation over open ocean required careful attention to compass headings, dead reckoning, and celestial navigation using the sun and stars. A small error in calculation, maintained over hours of flight or sailing, could place a vessel hundreds of miles from where the crew believed they were. Running out of fuel or missing an island becomes far more understandable when you realize the navigator thought they were somewhere completely different. The Flight 19 incident illustrates this perfectly. Radio transcripts show Lieutenant Taylor believed his compasses were malfunctioning, but evidence suggests he simply became disoriented. He thought he was over the Florida Keys when he was actually over the Bahamas. His decisions based on that incorrect assumption led the squadron further out to sea rather than toward land. In deteriorating weather and fading daylight, the situation became unrecoverable. The planes ran out of fuel and ditched in the ocean, likely sinking quickly in rough seas. Weather forecasting before modern satellite technology was far less accurate than today. Pilots and ship captains made decisions based on incomplete information, sometimes finding themselves in dangerous weather they had no reason to expect. A storm that intensifies faster than predicted or changes course unexpectedly can place vessels in grave danger before they can react. Add darkness or poor visibility, and the situation rapidly deteriorates. Equipment failure contributes to many accidents. Engines quit, radios fail, structural components break. These failures occur everywhere, but when they happen over the open ocean, far from help, the consequences are devastating. A mechanical problem that would be a minor inconvenience near land becomes catastrophic in the middle of the Atlantic. No mystery is required to explain why a plane with engine failure crashes into the sea or why a ship with flooded compartments sinks. The phenomenon of confirmation bias affects how we interpret Bermuda Triangle stories. We remember the disappearances and forget the safe passages. Thousands of aircraft and vessels transit this region annually without incident, but those routine journeys don't make the news or fuel legends. One disappearance captures attention and reinforces the narrative, while 10,000 successful crossings are ignored because they're expected and unremarkable. Consider how this works in your own life. If someone tells you to watch for red cars, you will suddenly notice red cars everywhere, not because there are more of them, but because you're primed to see them. The Bermuda Triangle legend primes us to notice disappearances in that region while ignoring accidents everywhere else. A ship sinking in the Pacific is just a maritime accident. The same ship sinking in the Bermuda Triangle becomes evidence of mysterious forces. The lack of wreckage in many cases seems suspicious until you understand ocean dynamics. A plane hitting water at high speed breaks apart, and most components sink. Ocean currents quickly disperse floating debris. Search areas must be calculated based on last known positions, but if those positions are incorrect due to navigation errors, searchers look in the wrong places. The ocean is vast, and finding scattered debris is like searching for specific grains of sand on a beach. It's not mysterious that we don't find things, it's remarkable when we do. Modern technology has essentially solved the mystery by showing there isn't one. GPS navigation eliminates the compass errors and dead reckoning mistakes that plagued earlier generations. Satellite tracking means we know where vessels are at all times. Emergency beacons allow precise location of crash sites. Weather forecasting gives advance warning of dangerous conditions. The result? Far fewer disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, not because the mysterious forces stopped, but because the mundane causes have been addressed. Despite scientific explanations, the Bermuda Triangle legend persists in popular culture. Understanding why people continue to believe in the mystery reveals as much about human psychology as it does about the ocean. The legend serves a psychological need for wonder in an increasingly explained world. As science answers more questions, the remaining mysteries become more precious to those seeking magic and inexplicable phenomena. The Bermuda Triangle represents a space where nature supposedly defies our understanding, where the modern world's confidence meets humbling uncertainty. This appeals to something deep in the human psyche. Stories of the Bermuda Triangle tap into ancient fears of the sea. For most of human history, the ocean was a dangerous unknown, a vast expanse that swallowed ships and offered no explanation. Sailors told stories of sea monsters and cursed waters to explain the very real dangers they faced. The Bermuda Triangle is simply a modern version of these ancient narratives, dressed in 20th century clothing but serving the same purpose, making sense of loss and tragedy. The entertainment industry has kept the legend alive through countless books, television shows, movies, and documentaries. Many of these productions present the mystery uncritically, emphasizing dramatic disappearances while downplaying or ignoring scientific explanations. Dramatic storytelling sells better than careful analysis, and producers know that audiences find tales of inexplicable vanishings more compelling than discussions of rogue waves and navigation errors. Conspiracy theories flourish in the information age, and the Bermuda Triangle provides fertile ground. Some claim the area is home to underwater alien bases. Others suggest it's a portal to another dimension. Still others propose secret government experiments or lost civilizations wielding advanced technology. These theories share a common thread. They make believers feel they possess special knowledge that mainstream science either doesn't know or is deliberately hiding. The pattern repeats across many topics. Believers dismiss evidence that contradicts their views while accepting uncritically any information that supports them. They interpret ambiguity as confirmation and see skepticism as close-minded rejection. Scientists pointing out flaws in Bermuda Triangle theories aren't viewed as providing valuable corrections, but as protecting a worldview or covering up the truth. Educational value exists in the Bermuda Triangle legend if we approach it correctly. The story provides an excellent case study in critical thinking, demonstrating how myths develop, how to evaluate evidence, and why scientific methodology matters. Teachers can use the triangle to show students how to distinguish between correlation and causation, how to identify logical fallacies, and how to approach claims with appropriate skepticism. The persistence of belief also highlights how difficult it is to change minds once ideas take root. Even when presented with comprehensive evidence that the Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other well-traveled ocean region, many people maintain their belief in the mystery. They've invested emotional energy in the legend, and abandoning it feels like admitting they were fooled. This resistance to changing beliefs appears throughout human behavior, from politics to personal relationships. Some defenders of the mystery argue that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Just because we haven't proven something unusual is happening doesn't mean nothing unusual is happening. This argument sounds reasonable, but reverses how we should approach claims. The burden of proof lies with those making extraordinary claims, not with skeptics to disprove every possible explanation. Otherwise, we have to accept any unfalsifiable claim anyone makes. Tourism industries in the region have capitalized on the legend, offering Bermuda Triangle tours and creating museums dedicated to the mystery. This economic incentive ensures the legend won't disappear entirely, regardless of scientific evidence. The Triangle has become a brand, a marketing tool that draws visitors curious about the unknown. Local businesses benefit from the mystique, giving them reason to keep the story alive. Today's technology provides unprecedented ability to monitor, track, and understand what happens in the Bermuda Triangle. This modern perspective offers perhaps the most convincing evidence that nothing unusual is occurring. Satellite technology revolutionized navigation and safety at sea. GPS provides precise positioning anywhere on Earth, eliminating the compass and dead reckoning errors that contributed to many historical disappearances. Vessels know exactly where they are at all times, and if they deviate from course, sophisticated systems alert the crew immediately. This single technological advance has prevented countless accidents that would have been unavoidable decades ago. Automatic identification systems transmit a vessel's position, course, and speed to satellites and nearby ships. This system, mandatory for commercial vessels, means that ships are constantly broadcasting their location. If a vessel stops transmitting, search and rescue teams know immediately and can respond to the last known position. This dramatically increases the chances of finding survivors and understanding what happened. Emergency position indicating radio beacons automatically activate when a vessel sinks. These beacons float free and broadcast distress signals to satellites, providing precise location coordinates. They are remarkably reliable, and their signals can be detected anywhere on Earth. This technology alone has saved countless lives and solved mysteries that would have remained unexplained in earlier eras. Weather forecasting has improved dramatically through satellite observations and computer modeling. Meteorologists track storms from formation through dissipation, predicting their paths and intensities with increasing accuracy. Pilots and ship captains receive real-time weather updates and can avoid dangerous conditions that would have caught earlier travelers by surprise. The National Hurricane Center issues advisories days in advance, giving vessels time to change course or seek harbor. Ocean floor mapping through sonar and satellite measurements has revealed the underwater topography of the Bermuda Triangle in extraordinary detail. Scientists have identified underwater mountains, trenches, and geological features that affect currents and wave patterns. This knowledge helps explain historical incidents and allows modern navigators to understand the conditions they'll encounter. Areas where methane hydrates might exist are now mapped, and researchers monitor them for signs of instability. Aircraft technology has advanced beyond recognition since the Flight 19 era. Modern planes have multiple redundant navigation systems, sophisticated weather radar, automatic distress beacons, and communication systems that make losing contact nearly impossible. Engines are far more reliable, and maintenance protocols catch potential problems before they become critical failures. Commercial aviation is now extraordinarily safe, with accidents rare and usually well understood. Black box flight recorders capture detailed information about aircraft operations. If a plane does crash, investigators can recover these devices and understand exactly what happened in the final moments. Cockpit voice recorders preserve crew communications, while flight data recorders track hundreds of parameters from speed and altitude to individual system performance. This technology removes much of the mystery from aviation accidents. Oceanographic research vessels regularly work in the Bermuda Triangle, conducting studies of currents, marine life, and geological features. These scientists spend months at sea in the region, collecting data and making observations. If unusual phenomena were regularly occurring, researchers would document them. Instead, their findings consistently show an ocean that behaves according to known physical principles. The United States Navy and Coast Guard conduct extensive operations throughout the Bermuda Triangle. Training exercises, patrols, search and rescue missions, and routine transits occur constantly. Military and Coast Guard personnel have logged millions of hours in and above these waters. Their operational experience, documented in countless reports and mission logs, shows nothing unusual about the region. If mysterious disappearances were truly common, military operations would reflect that reality. Commercial shipping lanes cross the Bermuda Triangle daily, with container ships, tankers, and cruise vessels making routine passages. These voyages are tracked, logged, and analyzed by shipping companies whose profits depend on reliable, safe operations. The data they've accumulated over decades shows that the Bermuda Triangle poses no greater risk than any other open ocean region with similar weather patterns and traffic density. As we reach the end of our journey through the Bermuda Triangle, several themes emerge that extend beyond this particular mystery. The legend teaches us about human nature, the importance of critical thinking, and how science gradually illuminates what once seemed inexplicable. The Bermuda Triangle is ultimately a story about perception versus reality. Our perception, shaped by dramatic accounts and the appeal of mystery, suggested something unusual was happening. Reality, revealed through careful investigation and improving technology, showed us a region of ocean that operates according to the same natural laws governing everywhere else. This gap between perception and reality appears throughout human experience, reminding us to question our assumptions and seek evidence. Science doesn't always provide immediate answers, and that uncertainty can be uncomfortable. When Flight 19 disappeared in 1945, investigators couldn't definitively explain what happened. That uncertainty created space for speculation and alternative theories. But uncertainty doesn't mean all explanations are equally valid. A mystery unsolved by current knowledge isn't evidence for the supernatural. It's simply a problem awaiting better tools and understanding. The ocean remains genuinely dangerous, and that truth doesn't require embellishment. Rogue waves, sudden storms, equipment failures, and human errors claim vessels today, just as they did centuries ago. Respecting the ocean's power and preparing properly for its challenges is far more valuable than attributing dangers to mysterious forces. Real hazards demand real precautions, while imaginary threats distract from genuine safety concerns. The progress of technology has been remarkable in making sea and air travel safer. Each generation builds on the knowledge and tools of previous ones, gradually reducing risks that once seemed unavoidable. The decline in Bermuda Triangle incidents correlates perfectly with improvements in navigation, communication, weather forecasting, and vessel design. This isn't coincidence, it's cause and effect. We understand the dangers better and have developed effective countermeasures. Critical thinking skills matter more than ever in an age of information abundance. The Bermuda Triangle legend spread because people didn't question the claims they heard. They didn't check whether incidents actually occurred as described or whether explanations were offered and ignored. Today, we face countless claims competing for our attention and belief. The tools we use to evaluate Bermuda Triangle stories, asking for evidence, checking sources, considering alternative explanations, apply equally to everything else we encounter. The human need for mystery and wonder need not conflict with scientific understanding. The real ocean, explained by physics and chemistry and biology, is far more fascinating than any supernatural mystery. Rogue waves forming from the precise intersection of multiple wave patterns demonstrate mathematics in action. Methane hydrates bubbling from the seafloor reveal the chemical dynamics of our planet. Understanding these phenomena deepens our appreciation rather than diminishing it. Stories and legends serve important cultural functions, even when they're not literally true. The Bermuda Triangle legend brings people together, sparks curiosity about the ocean, and provides a shared reference point across generations. We can appreciate these cultural aspects while still recognizing that the mystery itself has been solved. The stories can remain meaningful even as we understand their origins and embrace more accurate explanations. The ocean still holds genuine mysteries worth exploring. The deep sea remains largely unexplored, with thousands of species unknown to science, geological processes we're only beginning to understand, and ecosystems that function in ways we've barely studied. Rather than inventing mysteries where none exist, we can direct our curiosity toward the real unknowns that await discovery. And on that note, we've navigated through the legends and the science, the disappearances and the explanations, the fears and the facts surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. What emerges is not a supernatural mystery, but a very human story about how we interpret the unknown and how science gradually replaces speculation with understanding. The ocean remains vast and powerful, deserving our respect and fascination, but the Bermuda Triangle itself is no more dangerous than any other well-traveled stretch of sea. Thank you for joining me on this voyage through the Midnight Deep. I hope you found this exploration both soothing and enlightening, a chance to let your mind drift through fascinating waters while learning something about our world and ourselves. Until next time, This is Wade Hadley wishing you calm seas and clear skies.